Hi everybody, how you doing? It's great to see everybody here. Oh my gosh. Uh, wow. What a start. Trying to
Yes,
figure out this
monthly late.
technology. Oh my gosh.
Yeah.
We're doing it somewhere different today. But it's good to see everybody. Hope you're all well. And this is Pastor Evan Carroll. We're so excited to see you this evening.
Yeah.
And yeah, we're looking forward to hanging out with you in our living room and just hearing your stories and sharing our stories and talking about the things that nobody warned us about.
Yes.
So, hey, wherever you're watching from, please tell us where you know the drill. Tell us where you're watching from. Tell us who you are, where you're watching from, how long you've been married. And also, if you've got friends who need to be watching this, just send them the link. If you're watching on Facebook, share it with your friends. Do a share. I would love that if you could just share this. And by the way, you're sharing life-saving information because this is stuff that is not common, as we're finding out. The
Yeah.
stuff we're talking about marriage, is just not common, and many people are floundering because they just don't have what it people to guide them, just people to give them wisdom and advice and thoughts and just counsel. And so, please share it with a friend, and yeah,
Yeah.
that'll be
Especially
awesome.
maybe those friends who are newly married and are still going through the shocks, the surprises of being married. That's what we're going to be talking about. But welcome. My name, we are the Moravis, Pastor Carol and Moravi Wanjao. We are pastors, we are authors, we are speakers, we are your marriage coaches. And in addition to that, I'm a marriage and family therapist.
Absolutely.
Yeah.
Yeah, and it's great to be here. This is Asking for a Friend. For those of you who just wandered in, this is Asking for a Friend. We've been doing, this is like episode 9. Can you believe it?
Imagine that, yeah.
So yeah, it's episode 9 and it's our season finale because we're going to take a break
Christmas break.
Yeah, just a break for Christmas. We want you to have a break for Christmas as well,
Yeah.
so we can come back stronger in January. But it's great to see you all, and some of you have been here right from the beginning. Tell us if you've been with us for a while, you've been watching, and man, I mean, tag a friend, tell them to be here as well. Yeah, but this is Asking for a Friend, and it's one of the things we do is we just create this mentoring community where people can connect and just learn about marriage. One of the things we really desire is to actually show couples that that marriage is actually possible.
Yeah.
Because there's this thing that's going around right now that says marriage is a hoax, marriage doesn't work, it's not possible. It actually is. And there are people who are actually happily married and they're not faking it. They're not doing it for the lights. They're actually enjoying it. And it's not because they were lucky. It's
Yeah.
not because the cards fell right for them. It's not because they met the one and you haven't met the one yet. It has nothing to do with that. It has to do with the fact that, hey, they learned some things and they were fortunate enough that some people showed them some things, or just somehow, by God's grace, they learned some wisdom that helped them walk the path that every couple should walk through on the path to a happily ever after.
I think
And so we want to just make it possible for you to actually, for people to see that marriage actually works.
Yeah.
And so that's what this community is. And we've also got something called Asking for a Friend. The Ndoa Couples community is part of that. And we'd like to invite you to join that. There's actually a link on your broadcast, whether you're watching on Facebook or you're watching it on YouTube. If you'd like to join the Ndoa Couples community, it's a mentoring space. And our vision is just to have this space where good marriages are normal.
Yeah.
Let me tell you, it's possible. Good marriages can be normal. Where our kids grow up, and instead of seeing good marriages as being something rare, like you see today, they would actually grow up in a place where good marriages are normal. And so please join that. We'd love for you to join it and just be part of the Ndoa Couples community.
Yeah. Let me just give a special shout out. There's B. Kuria who says she's watching from Thika. This is her second time. Welcome, B. We have Patrick Mwangi from Kiambu. Ches Cha from, hey, there are so many people from Kiambu.
Kiambu is a place to be.
Kiambu is a place to be. Then we have Mag Kami and Jerry Skilton, Nairobi, 23 years married and aiming for 80.
Oh, wow.
So
I
welcome.
like that. 23 is good.
Yeah.
That's really good.
Yeah.
So I've got Mwenga Mongare from New Jersey. Come on. I like that. Welcome, Mwenga. And he says his index number 1.
Oh, really?
Yeah.
He was the first one on today.
Yeah, he was on. He was like at 7:34. I'm
Wow.
on. He's like,
Oh,
I'm index
nice.
number 1.
Yeah.
And then Lois Chalo is here. Great to see you watching from Nairobi. Patrick from Kiambu. Kiambu is the place I told you.
tell you.
Kiambu is like competing for number 1 venue right now.
Yeah.
Daphne from Uganda. Daphne, you're both. Welcome from Uganda. Terry Gitahi is watching from Uganda. Terry is actually, she was on. I noticed that she was part of our. She's part of our Ndoa couples community. And so a
Yeah.
big shout out to you, Terry.
Terry.
Great to see you here as well. George Oyogo from Nakuru. We've been married 11 years.
Nice.
That's so sweet. Salmak watching from Kiambu. 1.9 years married. Can you believe it? It's like I like the points. You know, when you're newly married, those
You
points are
remember plus the
important. Huh?
weeks.
Those
Yes.
guys who are married like 27 years, I dare you tell me 27 point what, how many years, you know.
Yeah.
But it's like Salmak is like, I've got this. Letitia is watching from Uganda. Laush Tindi from Nakuru. We've got quite a bunch of people here already, man.
Yeah.
Somebody, Sarah and Felix from Kabete. I love that. And then Jerry Muduya watching from Feather, married 6 months.
Oh, great.
I love that. That's like they're
That
they're
is
still on
so
honeymoon.
nice. That
Andrew
is so-
from Embu, 5 years, and then Daisy from Embakasi, Nairobi.
Oh, wow.
So good to
wow.
see you all, man.
Yeah, we have someone from Imara Daima. Shout out to Meg. And Tina Ocheno. Tina, tell us where you're watching from.
I love that.
But welcome. So this just to mention that we run a couple of different marriage experiences. The first one is called Ndoa. Many
Yeah.
of you know about Ndoa. It's
Yeah.
been running for quite a number of years, and it's a 10-week experience that helps couples build their foundations.
If you haven't done that, please, you
Yeah,
need to do it.
you-
Because I mean, many couples, you ended up, you know the drill. It's like see the pastor for like 3 sessions,
Yeah.
and it's like then you get married, and it's like what? So the Ndoa is just a foundation that gives you a solid. It's just a space for you to really go through the reality of marriage. And if you're planning to get married, you must do it. If you've already gotten married, you just didn't get a solid foundation, it's a great place for you to just go back and enrich and
Yeah.
refresh your foundation.
Yeah, so it's never too late, by the way, to do your foundations. You could be even 25 years
Absolutely.
married, but
Oh, yeah.
you know,
Oh,
if you've
yeah.
never
Oh,
done
yeah.
foundations, you can't start building from any other place other than foundations.
Wow, that's
And yeah.
I like that.
And then the second course that we run is called Couples and Money. And
Yeah.
this is an online experience that helps couples build financial intimacy. By this we mean we help couples build their wealth and still remain together.
Yeah.
Yeah, because I think one of the things that we've noticed is that sometimes there are two scenarios. Well, yeah, I hope we're not oversimplifying them, but there's basically like some two scenarios. One where a couple is so broke, but they're in love, but they have nothing to show for it.
So they can't achieve their purpose.
Can't
That's more
achieve.
important.
Yeah,
they
the
actually
big
can't.
point. Yeah, and then there are others who, as soon as the money checks in, then the fissures or the differences actually check in as well, and so you find money drawing a couple apart from instead of bringing them together. So we're saying with Couples and Money, we help you grow your money, your income streams, while remaining together. I think that's absolutely important.
So we'll do an ad from the sponsor later.
Yes, we will.
Okay.
Yeah.
I like that. So I could see Mike from all the way from Kampala, Mike Onan. Oh my gosh.
Nice.
Great to see you, Mike.
Yeah.
11 years, 3 days.
Woo.
This guy's just celebrated the anniversary.
Yeah,
You see those
yeah.
hot pictures on
Yeah,
Facebook?
they're looking so nice.
Yeah, those couples that just make you feel formal.
Yeah.
And then Charit Nesesha, been here since first episode. I like that.
Nice.
Learning so much. And then Judy Nego says good evening. And then Nelly from Kileleshwa, married for years and going. She didn't even tell us how many years, just says for years. So I like that. Or maybe she meant 4 years.
4
So I
years.
don't know. Yeah.
There's someone who said B Korea, married 32 years this December.
For real?
Oh my goodness.
I love that.
We'd love to see
That
the
is
face of
so,
B
so
Korea. I don't know if
good,
it's
yeah.
a lady or a guy.
B Korea.
Yeah. Patrick Mongi has been married 6 months. Lucy Nyoro has been married 6 years.
I was going to say 60. Oh, wow. They should be teaching this class.
Yeah.
They should be the ones running this.
Yeah.
But hey, you know, what I like about this community is just that they're couples from all walks of life, from all countries, and then also they're couples from all different kinds of experiences.
Yeah.
And that's been really humbling for me. It's just to see people who are newlywed,
Yeah.
actually people even planning to get married, and then people who've been married 32 years.
32
And it's
years.
all in the same community, sharing wisdom, sharing knowledge.
Yeah.
And so that's one of the reasons we're so excited about the Ndoa couples community. We hope you can all be a part of that.
It's what we call a peer mentoring community, the Ndoa
Absolutely.
community.
Absolutely.
And so whether you've been married for a very short time or a very long time, that's such an amazing peer mentoring space. Like,
Yeah.
you know, it's just an amazing space.
I love it.
Yeah.
So what's your high for this week?
What is it?
Yeah, it's been that day. I
It's
knew
been one of
I'd
those
throw you
days.
off by asking
Yeah,
you that.
but I finally got to sleep.
Ah,
finally got to
yeah,
sleep.
That's true.
I have been struggling
That should
with
be my
sleep
high
for
as
the
well,
last.
because you know when you don't sleep, I don't
You
sleep.
don't sleep either.
My gosh.
I've been struggling
Smart
to
thing.
sleep for the last month or so. I mean, it has just been
Yeah,
crazy
yeah,
nights.
yeah.
And then I called
Insomnia,
my friend.
like
It was
serious insomnia. Huh?
I
Like
mean,
you thought you were going crazy.
I thought I was going crazy.
Like you realize how important sleep is, huh?
Oh my goodness. And the crazy thing is that I would lack sleep. So I'd enter bed and maybe I'd feel a little tired just before entering bed. By the time I'm entering bed, it's like I'm wide awake. And I'm wide awake through the night. And during the day, I'm not sleepy at all. What do you call that?
Well,
Serious insomnia.
We discovered what we call it. That was, later on, because you went through some crazy.
Oh,
your blood pressure went up.
My
You
blood
were
pressure
getting
went
treated.
up.
They thought it was all kinds of things.
Yes.
And then we discovered.
Yes, how we discovered. Well, I'm 52 years and 26 years married.
So here's the thing. Today we're talking about the things they never tell you. And here's man, I am so. As a husband, I've been so panicky about her health. I thought she was dying. I thought it was that COVID thing that she had earlier that we talked about that she was cured of.
Yeah.
So I'm just racking my brain trying to figure out what is wrong with my wife. Am I losing my wife?
Yes.
And then we realize it's just simply
Perimenopause. Yeah.
Why didn't they tell us?
Nobody ever told us that.
Like your mom didn't tell you, my mom didn't tell nobody told us.
No one told us.
So here we are running around. So you need to write a book.
I think
For
so.
all the ladies who are watching here,
Oh,
who are
my
in their
goodness.
20s and 30s and 40s, and they don't
Yeah.
even understand this thing
Yes.
and how it can destroy their husbands. I mean, just for the sake of husbands, write that book. Write that.
Well, people today in our community talked about mood swings. I mean, just the things that we never learned.
But
And
mood
one
swings
of
are
them-
nothing. Like I've gone through mood swings, getting married without nobody told me about mood swings, but mood swings are nothing compared to perimenopause. So the thing I want you to just share with everybody.
Yes.
This is not the show, but
Yes.
please just
What
help
to do.
help some couples here who are going to
Yes.
hit that stage. So please, if you're not yet at that stage in life, ladies, take notes. Like get your pen now.
Yes.
Because this is going to save your life. All right.
Yes,
So
yes.
what did you learn?
So let me tell you what I did. There's this great, amazing woman who I call Mama Sandra. She's Mrs. Thiaka, actually.
Yeah.
She's in her 60s.
Yeah.
And so I called her and I told her, my goodness, this is what is going on with me. I don't understand it. I'm not being able to sleep. Oh, by the way, melatonin and the sleeping pill, melatonin was not working.
So
Would
you
you
get
like-
to do drugs to sleep.
Drugs to
What?
sleep, I didn't want-
Doctors, and
Yeah,
medicines.
I didn't want to get addicted to sleeping pills. Moreover, my body could override if it wanted to.
So
Huh.
okay, so get
Woo.
that. Yeah. So what
Anyway,
happened, Mama Sandra?
so I call Mama Sandra
Yeah.
and she tells me, she gives me a very simple solution. She just tells me, take turmeric and cinnamon tea at night, before you go to bed.
Turmeric powder, which
Yeah.
you can buy in any supermarket.
Any supermarket. And it's actually the powder, not even
Cinnamon powder,
cinnamon
which you
powder.
buy in any supermarket.
And ginger.
And then some ginger, so
Just-
fresh ginger.
Fresh ginger, yeah. So you just boil
make
that.
a tea,
Yeah, make a tea.
which is actually coming to
Coming
us right
right
now. What?
now.
Like that is on cue right now as we speak.
So I'm able to
our good
sleep.
friend Damaris is bringing us our turmeric. So I'm even sharing it now because even I'm learning I need to sleep. Like I'll die
And
if
the
I don't
mug
sleep.
is so big. It's actually like it's a beer mug.
It's your beer mug.
It's my beer mug.
All
but
right, so
yeah.
just put it over there, and then
And
you
a stool.
get our stool. All right.
Yeah.
So this is what you
Yeah.
realize. So ladies, this will change your lives. It will solve your husband's lives, which is important for me.
Yes. And there's someone over
Because
here.
I
who-
couldn't sleep.
Yeah, I kept bumping into him. I kept wondering, should I just wake
Like
up?
it killed me. Like we were both going crazy.
Yes, and then the
And-
problem was the anxiety.
Then you're getting. So we even bought a heart blood pressure
Blood pressure,
machine.
my blood pressure shot up.
So that you're measuring every day, and the more you see the blood pressure shooting up, the more stressed you get, the more it
the
shoots
less
up.
I sleep.
So this saved our lives, and basically this tea, it's just this
That's it.
little thing here.
It helps
It
me
knocks
sleep.
her out.
Yeah.
Like today is the first time I'm taking it. haven't
Yes,
taken
I
it.
don't know what you're going to
But
use.
as I've watched you for the last few days, I'm like,
That's
okay,
so quick.
look like you're having really good sleep, so I'm going to try it as well. So it's basically a teaspoon
It's half a teaspoon,
Half a
of,
teaspoon of
turmeric,
turmeric.
a teaspoon of cinnamon,
and
and then ginger you put, to the kick that you want,
okay,
and then you boil that.
a
and
little honey to sweeten it,
a little honey and lemon just to flavor it.
and
to just give
and
it.
you're out.
And you're out. It
Yeah.
is so amazing. So someone here, Priscilla Getahi Upton says, I've had struggles with perimenopause and the inset of menopause early. It's awful, but you can overcome it. It affects your mental health too. Honestly, I was so anxious.
Yeah. Nobody
It
told us
really-
that.
Nobody told us that.
But here, turmeric.
Hey,
Cheers.
cheers.
To good sleep.
Turmeric, to good sleep tonight.
So
I
anyway,
have Mrs. Thiaka
that's
to thank for
yeah.
this.
So Mrs. Thiaka, thank you. I know Mumo is part of our
Mumo is the-
community,
is the
and
son.
Sandra sometimes watches as well. So
Yeah.
please thank your mom for us.
Oh, she's just,
For me,
I just thank
Like
God.
I can sleep. So that's your highlight.
That is my highlight. Yeah. How about you?
So my highlight this week, I didn't have bees this week.
Yeah.
My highlight is I'm on leave. So it's been like an intense year. Almost felt
Yeah.
like
Oh my God.
I had
It's just been an
no
intense
breaks,
year.
huh?
Yeah.
I've been busier this year than some people feel like 2020 they got to rest because the pace
Yeah.
slowed for them.
Yeah.
I feel like for me it just increased.
Yeah.
And my gosh, I mean, last week is when it just hit me. I'm going to crash.
Yeah.
And so fortunately we had planned to take some leave. And
Yeah,
so
so
today
this week
is
we are
day
leave.
1 of leave.
Yes. Yes.
And that's also why I'm looking forward to also just giving a pause to this
asking
show
for a friend, yeah.
and just refresh. So my prayer is that December will be a month of refreshing,
Yeah.
and I'm really looking forward to it.
Yeah.
That's
Yeah.
my highlight.
Yes.
Yeah, just
I'm also looking forward to just
deep breath.
resting over Christmas and hanging out with family and
Yeah.
doing silly things. I mean, we've done such serious things this year.
Yeah.
Just
Do something a bit more fun.
decorating,
Yeah, do something more
gardening,
fun. Yeah.
anything.
So that's me.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Okay.
So today we're going to be talking about in our season finale will be it's been an intense year, so we're going to be talking about the things no one warned us about. That's really what we're talking about.
Yes.
And the things that surprised us when we got married. That's really what this show is about. And the interesting thing is, there are so many things that nobody told you about.
warned
Huh?
us about.
Yeah.
Yeah. And to this day in asking for our friend groups, it was
Like I've
It
never
was
seen those groups
crazy.
alive like that. Huh?
Yeah. I mean, you just
Like you
leave
blink
your
and it's
phone,
like 50
100,
messages.
Yeah, 115 at one. I
Like
was
the
like, oh my
conversations
goodness.
were
Yeah.
on fire.
Yeah. So thank you so much for
Yeah.
those of you who
Thank you.
contributed this week. I mean, that was absolutely.
I mean, I feel like
amazing.
for me, what I love about those groups is there are people who are new at marriage, and then there are people who've been married for long. There are people who are going through difficult spaces in their marriage. There are people who have been through those difficult spaces, and God has given them solutions. And so there's a lot of sharing. It's a place to vent. Some people, you come to vent. But then there's also wisdom. I've seen people just stepping up and sharing wisdom. As Carol called it, it's been a peer mentoring space.
It's been a peer mentoring.
And
some
a
people have
delight
such
to
great
just
wisdom.
catch up. Yeah, absolutely. I've been learning
Really?
just watching those groups.
Yeah.
And so thank you for every one of you.
Yeah. And today's issues were.
My goodness, today, I mean, there were so many
There's
issues.
so many issues. Yeah.
Lots of comments. One of the major threads was about food.
Yeah, by men.
like nobody. No, this was actually by ladies.
Yes,
It's
but
the
there
women
were
talking about the fact that nobody taught them about the difficulty of managing a home
Yeah.
and the stress of being in charge of a menu, husbands and kids, and then husbands who are not even appreciative of your hard work
Yeah.
in the kitchen. I mean, it's like your mom just handed you this thing over, and it was all of a sudden you're responsible for the livelihood and
Yeah.
of people, and it was just such a big mental weight. I think that one was like, it was a big one. I was
It was
surprised.
a
On
very
one of the
big
groups
one.
especially, there was quite a thread about that.
There was a very big one.
Yeah.
Can I just digress a little bit?
Yeah.
There's this lady who said, Ati, the jug has what?
Cinnamon,
Cinnamon,
Turmeric,
tea.
ginger, and some lemon?
Honey, yeah, honey,
honey
and
and
lemon.
lemon. Yeah, that's it.
That's
Yeah.
what we had. So
You'll sleep
now,
well tonight.
You'll sleep well if you take that. So I think from our own experience, we do have a food story. And the thing is that now you know even the way that we got married.
From your experience,
From
you
my
have
experience.
a story.
Yes, I have a story. So would you. But even how we got married, how we met, and even just during our dating.
Yeah.
I used to cook. I mean, I love
Whether you
cooking.
loved cooking, you're a good cook.
I was. And in fact, for my wedding, there are
yeah.
friends who gave me recipe books. I mean, they were not, cookbooks. They were not as common as they are right now. And so I remember a friend of mine just going through, I don't know whether it was some magazine, and just cutting, the pages from various magazines and compiling a whole cookbook. I mean, I loved to cook. And so I cook and spend like Saturdays. Saturdays was my day for cooking. And my husband just complains that he's going to put on weight. I was like, what?
No, it wasn't like that.
After I've spent
You're
so
making it
much
sound so harsh.
time.
It wasn't so bad like that. So
That's
how
the way
it
it came
worked,
out.
the way it worked was, when we were dating, I mean, I wouldn't eat your food every day. And I mean, your food was fantastic.
And yeah, you appreciated
And I
it.
loved your food.
Yeah.
But the problem is now, I became like the object of your culinary training and affection and whatever. And it's like you're making me breakfast, lunch, dinner. I used to eat like one meal a day when I was like a bachelor. So all of a sudden I'm looking at myself in the mirror and I'm like, I don't like what I'm seeing.
Yeah.
So it was nothing against your food.
Yeah.
I just was a little bit cautious because I didn't want to add weight. Do you want to pick that? That's our daughter.
Yeah.
Can you just tell her we're online?
Yeah. I just don't have to
tell
call
her. It's
my
okay.
husband.
You can stand.
Yeah. Hello? It's a reverse call. Do you know they do reverse calls nowadays?
Oh my gosh. Okay.
Yeah, it's a reverse call.
You take
Just
it.
for-
So anyway, I'll be telling you the story as she's talking to her daughter. I hope she's okay.
Yeah, she should be.
Okay. So basically what happened is she would make such amazing meals, and she loved making the meals. But then what happened is they would actually okay, just a sec, I'm kind of distracted. I need to hear you.
She's fine, yeah.
So you'd make these meals.
Yes.
I love the meals.
Yes.
But the problem is I started adding weight. So I told you, please, I can't eat this food. It's too much.
Yeah.
Then you took it personally.
Yes, I took it
I
absolutely.
mean, the girl is
personally.
sulking. She's not talking.
Yeah,
I'm
yeah.
wondering what's going on.
Yeah.
It's
yeah.
like if I don't,
If you don't eat.
the problems young husbands go through.
Actually, it just turned me off from cooking.
And then she stopped cooking. After that, she was like,
Imagine, I
"Z,
did.
I don't care about
I don't-
cooking anymore."
Maybe we had kids earlier, they would have appreciated my cooking.
So now I thank God that our first daughter loves to cook.
cooking.
So she cooks for us.
She
I
cooks
love
for
her
you.
cooking. She spoils me.
Yes.
Because you won't spoil me. But here's the funny thing. I was just thinking about it today. She's going to marry a dude
Yes.
who is going to be a really nice dude who's going to love her cooking because she cooks really well. And then they're
Yes.
going to get married, and then she's going to start cooking for that guy every meal. And the guy is
Yeah.
going to get frustrated because he's like, I can't eat this much food. And then
Yes.
she's going to get fed up.
Yes.
It's like a cycle. We need
Yes,
to pray to
we
break
need,
this.
We need to break that cycle. It's not a good cycle for,
Anyway,
for our
so
family.
that was an experience. So ladies
Yeah.
talked about that. One of the ladies talked about how she always expected her man to listen to her talk. So I think she's a sanguine.
Yeah.
She loves to crack jokes. The guy was fascinated.
Yeah. I'm
by
sure
the
he'd
jokes,
listen to her stories.
and he
yeah.
told her he loved her jokes.
Yeah.
But then after they got married, the man stopped really. He seemed like he stopped enjoying the jokes, and things
Yeah.
got worse. Now, when she started cracking jokes, the guy would increase the volume
Imagine
on the radio
on the radio, or even tune her out.
or to tune her out, and the lady was so offended.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And for her, she's like,
It's like the
you
jokes
know,
are
I
no longer
can't.
funny.
Yeah, I can't. And I truly, by the way, understand that.
Do you
huh?
do, eh?
I do, because I can only take stories up to a certain level.
So,
After
but the
that-
poor dude. I mean, the thing is, for her, she just felt it was bait and switch. When we were dating, how come you like the stories now? You can
Now you
now there's a
can't.
level.
Ah.
These are things that change, huh?
Yeah.
Somebody else also talked about, other people also talked about, ladies especially talked about how they thought they would always be transparent about money in their marriage. It's like the guy was so open.
Yeah.
When you get married,
And then the
shock
guy
on
just,
you.
yeah, and
Yeah.
then the guy just seems to keep quiet. In fact, there's some ladies who are like, by the way, why do guys keep quiet?
Yeah.
That was
And yet the
going on.
guy had lyrics, he was singing poems.
Yeah. Fascinated, yeah.
So betrayal.
Yeah, betrayal. In fact, there's a guy there who said it seems like there's a betrayal going on here in marriage.
I don't know if he's married, but I think his aim was this just looks like betrayal.
Yeah, but then there were other issues too that came up, and these ones were specifically guy issues, which were very interesting. And one of them was when babies come,
Hmm.
the attention shifts from the husband to the baby.
Yeah, for sure.
Yeah, for sure. Hmm?
Yeah.
Feel that happened in our
No,
case?
I'm just,
Oh, okay.
I'm just,
You're just acknowledging.
I'm just
Okay.
empathizing.
And in fact, someone said the vows need to read till baby do us part, or till children do us part.
Yeah.
And you know what? I can feel the women. I mean, you get so attached, and
Yeah.
you feel that the baby is so vulnerable, and that they truly depend on you.
Yeah, but the guy is like, I've been your babe. I've been it. Then all of a sudden we got married, and then what? Nobody told me I'd have to be.
And I think sometimes a woman may
I come
feel-
for a hug. I'm told, okay, just here are the diapers. Here, hold.
And I think what ladies sometimes will feel is that you can stand up. Unaweza jisimamia. You can manage yourself. You know,
Oh,
if there's food,
poor
you can
guys.
serve yourself. You know, you can do this.
I hope there's some
But
single
this
guys
baby-
listening to this. Anyway, yeah.
So that was one of them.
It's gonna happen.
And then the
It's
other
gonna
one
happen.
had to do with intimacy.
Mm-hmm.
And especially when the woman's need is much less than that one of her husband.
Yeah.
And again,
Sexual
they're-
libido differences.
Yeah,
Yeah.
you know,
That was a big one.
that was a big one, a very big one. And then of course there was the hormonal changes with the woman's cycle and wild mood swings to the point where women become very fussy, and even just to the point of you're breathing too deeply, or you're snoring, or you're chewing in a certain way. I mean, those were just things. And then there's someone who said, nobody told us in sickness and in health. You say those vows so nicely and sweetly, but you never ever imagine that your spouse will fall sick and that you need to take care of them.
I think the one I identify there is the mood swings, huh?
Mhm.
Like hormonal stuff.
Mhm.
Like nobody tells you when you're dating and you've got this beautiful girl. I mean, your sisters don't show you that stuff. It's
Yeah.
like it's this thing that they talk about with mom and it's just kept. So you get married to this woman and there are times in the month she's like, she's all over you. She's awesome. And then other months it's like you're,
Yeah. Yeah.
how are you? Fine.
Yeah.
It's like it's like what happened to my wife? Which alien abducted her and took over her body?
Yeah.
And all of a sudden, one minute you're hot, you're the hottest guy who ever walked on earth. The next minute you're this like
I don't know.
it's like she doesn't even want to be close to you. And
Yeah.
I mean, women have seasons. It's like summer and
Yeah.
fall and,
Yeah.
and winter.
Yeah.
For dudes, we are all tropical rainforests. It's like the same the whole year round. So that's so
It's-
confusing for a guy.
It is, huh?
Yeah, it is. I mean, nobody prepares you for that. Nobody told us.
Ah.
Yeah, nobody told us. I mean, I studied biology. I was a biochemist, for heaven's sake.
Yeah. So
But
you
no-
knew about it
Theoretically, but I mean, it's not the same as experiencing it.
yeah. Yeah.
So this is stuff nobody told the
No one
guys.
told us about.
Yeah.
And you know what? These are very real issues, and it's very easy to conclude that the real issue here is betrayal. In fact, someone did raise that up, and they said, "Yenyewe, I was duped. I was hoaxed. The terms have changed. The terms of engagement have changed.
Yeah.
Surely this must be betrayal." People normally say you no longer do the things that you said that you would, or the things that you used to do, before we got married. I put a number of ladies there who said, the guy was so attentive before, and then
Yeah.
when you get married, it's like
Acquired.
Acquired. I
It's
mean,
like
I
get
just couldn't understand what that is. And then the problem is that when we see this as betrayal, and that we take it as a betrayal, when we see it that way, then it's very easy to become resentful and bitter against your spouse.
Yeah.
And I think we did go through that.
I mean, I remember, I'll be honest, our 5th wedding anniversary, and I think I keep talking about this. I really felt it was over. Like, I felt it was over. I found myself wondering whether I made a serious mistake.
Then how could you think that?
Like, I was like, man, I'm stuck in a loveless marriage. And people are even talking about that in the group
I
today.
know,
Like,
but
is it okay? Does God prefer it if you're stuck in unhappiness? Somebody even asked that question today.
Yeah.
Like, is God happier for me to just be stuck? Is God happier when I'm stuck in a hopeless, loveless, frustrating marriage? Or is he happier when I just leave that marriage and at least I'm happy?
As in that part,
It,
seriously,
yeah,
that's
for
why.
real. I was like, man, I'm a pastor. Pastors don't divorce. But man, I mean, this,
Oh wow.
it was,
You were that miserable.
I was miserable.
I made me that miserable.
You- Now,
gonna
how are we
comment.
moving? How did this become about you? I'm talking about me right now.
Okay.
So I mean, it was terrible. And I think what happened is we couldn't agree on anything. We couldn't talk without sparks flying at some point.
Yeah, and dissolving in tear wax.
You would get into tearworks, and
Yeah.
then now you make me feel guilty.
Yeah.
I was terrified. I mean, it was just like, man, is this how? It was like a low grade fever. It's like every day
Yeah,
things don't
actually,
improve.
I
They
do
improve for a
remember.
bit, and then they just go back down,
Yeah.
and you just feel like you're sinking.
Mhm.
And I mean, for sure, and you weren't happy either. So
No.
stop trying
No, I
to
wasn't.
look saintly here.
Yeah.
I mean, we none of us was happy. It was just
None
a
of us
ter-
was happy, and I felt at that point that there's nothing that you could do. I think I had a very critical mind.
Yeah,
Truth.
you did, by the way. Yeah, I'm not supposed to agree. I couldn't do anything right.
It's true.
You know.
Couldn't do anything. I don't know where that critical spirit came from.
There was just a sense where there was no thankfulness in the marriage. It was
Yeah.
just a grind. And I remember just feeling really, on our 5th anniversary, honestly, it was
Yeah.
miserable. In fact, I remember just feeling, no, like this has
Is that
to
why you
end.
gave me the song? So for our 5th wedding anniversary, it was also a memory for me. We were studying, and we were actually studying abroad, and I felt a very liberated woman, and so I decided I'm going to plan for that 5th wedding anniversary, and so I even got some numbers, a black number and a red
The number she
little
means hot dress.
Yeah, a dress, and I had planned that we would go to. At that time we were abroad, we were in California. I would go to Las Vegas, and just enjoy ourselves. It's an entertainment place, and my idea was that we would go dancing, just a romance.
Yeah.
I was just thinking we can rekindle our romance.
Look into each other's eyes.
Look into each other's eyes. So that was my idea. Whereas for you,
And it was your treat to me. So
or rather, it
here's
was
where
me who planned it, and I
Yeah,
said,
so
"You're
she-
coming whether you like it or not."
exactly.
And it
So
was
first of all, it
something-
was all planned. Then I was co-opted into the
Drunk.
plan.
You were
Then
the
number
driver.
two, me as a driver, I was like,
Yes.
I need you to drive
4
this car
hours,
for
one
your
way.
plan.
Yeah.
So then we get there, and it's like, first of all, I've never been to Las Vegas before. Las Vegas is entertainment capital of the world.
Yes.
So the first thing I'm thinking of is put on jeans, put on
Imagine.
sneakers.
Jeans and
Let's
sneakers.
get out there and check out the action.
Every hotel. I mean, just
Let's
look
just
at
go
them.
see. I mean, we'll never be here. We've seen this thing in the movies.
Go to the
Ocean's
street.
11. I mean, this is it.
Yes, go to every hotel and all the lights.
But the
and
girl
all
did
that.
not. She had not come for any of that. She had come to put me in a hotel, in a
romantic-
restaurant, and watch her eyes and tell her nice
Yeah.
little nothings.
Nothings. Oh my goodness, it was such
That
a
was
big
such-
blow up.
It was a blow up. I remember when I started talking about putting on sneakers, and I'm like, I don't want to go to a nice restaurant first. Let's just go and enjoy ourselves. Let's have fun.
Yes.
And it just felt like, first of all, I think you felt like I was killing your dream, because your dream was
Yes.
just sitting down in this nice
Yeah.
place looking at each other's eyes.
Yeah.
I felt like you're stifling my style because I'm a sanguine. I like action. I
Yes.
like people. So I'm feeling like you're just crashing that.
Yeah.
And boy, didn't the
Yeah.
fireworks fly. I
In
mean,
the
our marriage.
fire-
I think our marriage that day was,
It was at a
low.
low point. It was
Yeah.
at a low point. And then I remember you. So I,
How did
I
you
got
even
some
drive
gift.
back?
I don't know.
How do you even drive back? Like,
First of all, we had a moment where we sat in the room and
you
kind
didn't even
of
go out for dinner, by the way.
we must have had to eat. I don't know what we wore. And then I remember you played for me a certain song.
Yeah. There
Which
was a song.
was so
The song that
offensive.
was. It was
By
a song
TD
by.
Jakes.
Yeah, it was a song
Love,
that.
love.
Well,
song.
basically the way the song says is,
Yeah.
if you want to love me the way I should be loved, then come on my side
side.
and love me from my side. And what happened is, in this song, the woman buys some satin sheets for the husband
Yeah.
as for his birthday, and the guy is like, satin sheets, those things slide.
Slide. You
I
fall
don't want
out of
that.
bed.
Ask me what I want.
Yeah.
So basically, that's what the song is. It's like, figure me out before you
Yeah.
try and love me with your language, you know.
Yeah.
Oh
fi-
my gosh.
yeah,
So I told her, yeah, please sit down. I've got a dedication for you for anniversary.
Oh my
Boom.
goodness.
Don't try this at home.
Don't try it. I was so offended.
Yeah.
You know, needless to say, that was our fifth one. Wedding
So
anniversary.
anyway, I mean, what really saved us, and I think as I listened to many couples today, sharing, and oh, by the way, for those who are waiting for a mystery couple, you got them already.
Yeah,
We're it.
it's it. We're it.
Today we're the mystery couple. We just wanted to share. So the thing that really saved us, and I think as I hear many people struggling, going through that challenge, or we're always arguing, we just can't see eye to eye, it doesn't seem to work, and it's everything. By the way, it's not one thing. It's like money, it's like in-laws, it's like arguments, everything just was grinding to a halt.
Yeah.
And I think what saved us is the fact, and I don't know, this is God's mercy,
It's just God's mercy.
the fact that you were studying psychology at the
Psychology.
time.
Yeah.
And we had I was learning through your books, you know,
Yeah.
I'd read the stuff you're reading, I'd watch some of your lectures, we did a couple of classes together, and there's a great guy who began to teach us
Yeah.
about the fact that every marriage goes through this.
Yeah.
By the way, I'd never heard that. Again,
Yeah.
nobody told us about that when we
Yeah.
got married.
Yeah.
Those are things nobody warns you about. Every marriage
Marriage
goes
goes through.
through this grind.
Can I make a comment over here
Yeah,
from someone? This is Priscilla Guitar here Upton who's saying, I'm smiling all the way listening to these marriage stories. If anyone told us these things, we might never have been married. Lovers, if you're wrong, you might.
It's true.
you
And I'll
might-
come back to that because it's actually true what you're saying.
Yeah.
We'd never get married if we knew that the reality. Huh?
Yeah.
But there's a reason, and I'll explain why I think it's important. But that professor really helped us because he normalized. And I think
Yeah.
many couples, what you need is to normalize where you're going through. When you realize men are not evil.
Yes.
It's not, your husband is not evil. Men are from Mars, women are from Venus. There's just
Yeah,
something
it's
you have
just
to
a
figure out.
Yeah.
Because every woman has to figure it out to have a good marriage. And every man has to figure it out to have a good. So this is what the guy normalized for us. And as we sat in that class, he talked about the stages of marriage, talked about every couple goes through these stages. It's normal for people. And I think that just completely liberated us. I think it saved our marriage at that point.
Yeah, it really did.
My goodness, I mean, that was just something.
Well, let me
super.
just say that for you, because he was quite logical, it made sense for you.
It made sense, and for me, it had to make sense. You know, it's
Yeah.
like, okay, this
And-
computes now.
And
This
for
makes
me,
sense.
I think because I was still holding on to the dream, I was like, no, this cannot be true. You know, what the things that he was teaching us. I was like, no, it cannot be true. I really wanted to hold on to the dream. You know, the romance.
Yeah.
You know, I think maybe I had read too many Mills and Boone.
I think there are some books, but these books are toxic, huh? Soap operas from Mexico, especially,
Yes.
and some of
all
the
these
novels, love
series
series
oh
that girls
my
read,
goodness.
because they give you an extremely unrealistic view of what marriage is.
Yeah.
So it's hard for you to come back to the reality that marriage is not all about romance.
Yeah.
That there are issues that happen.
Okay,
So
let's
that
go
was
through
like
the
that.
dream.
So anyway, so basically what we discovered is what Ms.
Lecturer.
Upton said,
Yeah.
Priscilla,
Yeah.
that every marriage goes through these stages. When you discover this, by the way, it normalizes the challenges you're facing. Huh? So we realize that every marriage starts with a dream. And some of you who've been in Doha, by the way, if you've taken Doha, you know these stages.
Right. The
But
dreams.
knowing them
Yeah.
doesn't stop you from
Doesn't
going
stop
through
you.
them. That's the most incredible thing for me.
Yeah.
So, I mean, you go through what we call the dream phase.
Yeah. And I think for me, I think the biggest dream that I had was just being very, romantic. And
Yeah, so you've been reading these books.
Yes. I mean, I think
So
that
this
was
girl
a
will
big
sweep
dream.
you off your feet,
Yes. sweep
take
off
you
my
to nice
feet.
restaurants,
Yes.
look into your eyes,
Date nights.
drink deeply of love,
Yes.
all that good
I think
stuff.
I think it was such a strong, the time I'm just realizing just how strong that dream was. And it was really influenced by the media that I was consuming.
And I mean,
And
all
just
of us,
totally-
every single one of us have a dream.
You
Every
did a
single one
dream.
of us have a dream.
It was
And
a
your
full
dream is
definite
compound. I
dream.
mean, even what you've said is a very simple part of your dream.
Yeah.
Because your dream is impacted by your parenting,
The way we
the
were
kind of man your
parented.
father was, or the
Yeah.
kind of,
Yeah.
it has to do with, it's so many other layers there. So even I can say what I saw with my mom creates a
Yeah.
part of that dream. What I felt in my peers and my peer group were unacceptable. So I mean, for instance, with my peers, it was very acceptable. I mean, because I played rugby and I was in this prestigious rugby team. Showing up with a girl on your arms who made everybody's head turn. That was
Bling.
Not even just
Trophy.
bling. I mean, just a trophy. I mean, like somebody who makes people go, whoa,
Whoa.
you're the man. So I mean, that's part of it. I don't even know that I have that. It's
That you
just
had it.
inbuilt,
Yeah.
And so what happens? You get married. You
And-
don't understand you have a dream, and basically what you do is you're looking for a spouse who kind of approximates your dream.
Yeah.
And what makes it tricky is the fact that you're in that mode when you're looking for that spouse. You meet somebody who kind of, by the way, you meet a lot of girls if you're a guy, and they will not even come close. And that's why there are people who you just look at. They may be beautiful, they may be intelligent, they may be everything in a bag of chips, but you can't even pay attention to them. But then there's some girls you meet, they may not even be what everybody else is noticing, but there's something in that person that you're like, there's a magic, there's some kismet, there's some reality, there's just a chemistry. What you don't realize about that chemistry is it's actually hardwired in you. There's no single person. It's not like I met that whole myth of the one.
Yeah.
By the way, there's people who
There's a
have
profile.
that. There's a profile that all of us are attracted to, and that profile is a composite of many different layers. And so you meet that person, and it's like, I feel for this person. I feel we can make a future with this person. And so, what you're basically doing is you're not marrying a person, you're marrying a dream. And that's not really who you're marrying. Who you think you're marrying is not who you're marrying. Let me tell you, those of you who are dating right now, who you think you're marrying is not who you're marrying. And I can tell you this 100 times, and you will still not understand it until you get married.
Yeah. So for those people who were writing in today and just saying, my spouse has changed, this is not where I got married to, this is not what I expected. Even for those spouses who are saying, especially for the women, who are saying that their husbands are not providing.
He changed.
He changed, he's not providing. I bet you he might have, he might have been that from the start, but
yeah,
you didn't notice.
you didn't see it because what you did is you baptized you put your dream on top of that person.
Yeah.
And there were enough pieces that matched that you ignored the path that didn't.
Yeah.
And what happens then is we end up being attracted to a dream and we marry a dream. And then later on the problems will come when
The
we
person
realize this
becomes
person
themselves.
is themselves.
Yeah. Yeah.
So for instance, you said,
and you don't like what you're seeing.
So I married this girl, and remember, I really liked her. She was deep, she was amazing. I thought she was incredible, wise, just somebody I enjoyed listening to her company. But remember, I'm still the trophy wife guy.
Yeah.
So what do I
And
do?
I'm not a
I mean,
trophy.
I just love showering her with gifts because that's
Bling.
part of my language. But that's my language, my love language.
Ah.
But that's another story.
Okay. Okay.
Because you killed that love language. So
Oh,
anyway,
for-
just the
for-
same
for
way I
gifts.
killed your cooking, the same way I killed your cooking. So
Don't worry, I can tell you which
you
other
can- you can
gifts.
revive it.
I can revive
so
it.
you can resuscitate my
I
gift.
can,
So
I
anyway,
can.
I think it died. So anyway, so I'm buying her gifts, and I'm buying her like nice things that will make her pop. Bling bling. Like whenever I travel or I do something, I'll buy her. I used to do business when I was in college, so I had money, so I'd buy her gifts. And I'd buy her stuff that would make her pop, back to the trophy wife. And guess what happens then? Is she wears it.
Yes.
And she really fits in. I mean, she comes to my rugby game, she comes to places, she's looking stunning in the things I buy. And stunning for me is my definition of stunning, isn't it?
Yeah, I mean, people have different definitions.
So then we get married, and all of a sudden, she's not wearing any of my bling anymore.
Or even the colors.
She doesn't even like my bright
Yeah,
colors, because
red.
me, I
What
like
is
the
that?
striking colors.
Yeah.
She's not even wearing those things. The more I see she's not wearing them, the faster I'm buying them. Because
Yeah.
it's like, okay, maybe she didn't like that one, let me buy another one.
Yeah.
So guess what happens is the more I'm buying them, the more I'm getting frustrated. So at some point here, things hit the roof when I see a beautiful dress I bought her on her sister. Like we
Yeah.
go to a party and I see a dress I bought her on her sister, who's kind of like a bit like me in personality, a bit more.
Yeah.
And I remember turning to her and saying, "What's my dress doing on your sister?" Like it wasn't her dress, it was mine. It's like, so in my mind, so what's going on in this young man's mind is this, because what she really is, she doesn't like attention. She doesn't want to wear anything that makes her stand out. She'd rather be in the background observing. So here I am trying to pull her into my space. She agreed though. Why did you agree? Because you're interested in me.
Yeah.
Because you're like, okay, I'll do this because I like the guy.
I was lying or anything.
You
Or
just like me
pretending
enough that you're willing to do what I want to do.
Yeah.
But now you're like, I'm ready to be myself.
Yeah.
And that's not
but
who
now
I
you
am.
do that for so long.
And it's a slow death for me because I'm like, I married this woman. All of a sudden, I'm like, I'm stuck with a woman who wants to be in the background.
Yeah.
What is that? Now, that's just a very small example.
Yeah.
But it multiply that in many, many layers.
Yes.
She wouldn't do the things that I thought she would do to fit in my dream. Because all of a sudden, she's like, I don't want to be manipulated. I am not a dream. I am me.
Yeah. Yeah.
And that's where marriage conflict just
And
begins.
that's where it begins. And that happens. The dream phase happens.
So the husband who loved the jokes,
Yes.
that dude has never liked noise.
Yeah.
He has a very low tolerance for
For
stories.
noise.
But he was fascinated by this woman.
And they were not together.
And they were
at
not
that
together.
time.
So he could listen and then go home and detox.
Yeah.
Now you're with him every 24/7 and you're still giving him your stories.
Yeah.
Of course, the guy is now showing himself and he's like, I'm dying.
I
This is
can't.
too
It's
much.
too much.
My circuits are frying. Stop talking.
Yeah.
And of course, you get offended because it's like he's changed.
Yeah. Well, I don't think he'd changed. Right? I think it's just that
He became himself.
he became himself. Then that's when you go into the drama phase. So the dream phase can last a few months after getting married,
Few days.
a few days after
Hours.
getting married.
We've known couples where it lasts
That-
a few days or
yeah,
hours.
where serious conflict starts right during the honeymoon.
Yeah.
And people begin to wonder, what is going on there. Then, so we have drama, and drama basically is unfulfilled expectations. You thought that maybe your spouse would make this kind of food, or they would provide it at this level. What are the other dreams?
Well, you thought that he would always be there for you, take you out to
always
nice
be
restaurants,
there. Yeah.
but he doesn't like that.
Yeah.
I thought you'd come to rugby games because you used to come
Yeah.
when we were dating
Yeah. That didn't
and
happen.
cheer, and it's like, I don't enjoy rugby. This is so
Yeah.
much noise.
Yeah.
So
It
just
is.
go with your boys. I'm like,
Yeah.
what? I'm being conned here. I thought
Yeah.
you thought the guy would take you shopping.
Oh yes. No, me the big one of course was the date night
Yeah,
and going
that was
for.
big
I
for
mean that
you.
was a very big one. And so I think that whole thing of the script has changed, this person has changed. Did they con me? Were they trying to
Yeah.
get me?
Yeah.
I mean those are questions that people go through.
You're always thinking that. But they didn't con you. They liked you.
Yeah.
And
They loved
so,
you,
so
obviously,
here's
not
where, now Priscilla, here's where I think that the Bible gives us our perspective. Because when God wanted Adam to get a wife, what did he do? He put him to sleep.
Yeah. So I
He
think
put
the
him to
whole
sleep.
dating.
So dream is about sleep.
Sleep.
You only dream when you're sleeping. The dream phase is for sleeping.
Yeah.
So husbands and wives, God closes your eyes so that you can hook up. Because if you understood the
You
challenge
wanna get married.
what it takes to be happily married ever after, you'd stay single. So for those of you who are watching when you're single, this is a good thing for you to understand. That there are challenges ahead that maybe God allows you to fall asleep a little bit. Just so that once you're hooked up now, it's like, okay, we're in this thing. Let's make it work.
let's just wake up.
So,
Yeah,
so
you-
drama comes. So dream after the dream, the next stage is always drama.
Drama. And here's the thing about drama. It's a place where it's very easy to blame the other person and to think it's the other person's fault. And I think that's where we were. That's where
Yeah.
I was. Where I was just thinking, every misery, everything that I was going through was because you were not performing in a certain way.
Yes.
I think that was
Yeah,
it. That was what was going on.
yeah. And I mean the same for me. I just kept feeling I'm trapped.
Oh,
It's
well,
you, you know.
oh my goodness.
Trapped. That's how it felt. It was like trapped. Because you're thinking, there were like so many girls I could have married. And of course, at that point, you're thinking, she's the wrong one.
Yes.
You're not thinking of anything else. You're just thinking, I think I married the wrong guy. I think
Yeah.
I married the wrong woman.
Yeah.
So, because now you married the wrong person, you think of all the right ones you left behind. In fact, someone said that in the community today.
Oh.
It's like you're stuck with a miserable person. Maybe you should let them go. There could be somebody who's the right person that you're just missing out by being
Yeah.
with this wrong person.
And
So that's a thought that is coming. It's like, man, I could have been somewhere else. I could have been with someone else. I mean, I could have
Yeah.
been happy.
And the thing is that this is the phase that just shows us our selfishness and the fact that we are incredibly selfish. And I'm not even thinking about the other person. We're now just talking about myself.
Yeah.
To imagine the expectations that I had placed, because I remember for me, my thinking was that my happiness and my emotional well-being was tied to you, and it was tied
My
to you
performance.
performing,
Yeah.
in very
My being
specific-
the dream.
Yeah,
My
being the-
fulfilling the
yeah.
part. Yeah.
and all these things that are happening, you're like, they're not. He's not doing what satisfies me or what fulfills me.
Yeah.
And I feel that is looking for love in just a very wrong
Wrong
place.
places.
It really is. And I remember at one time, I think the thing that turned it around for me, I don't know, probably it was, I guess, the mercy of God, was just a real, I don't know, I just said, I don't want to be this clingy woman. I don't want to be here, just waiting, for you to fulfill me in whatever ways. And I decided, no, I think I'm going to look to God for that.
Yeah.
And here I must say, I don't know about other women. In fact, I really wish that people would comment and just say what
Yeah.
it was.
Tell us what you're thinking if you've been through this.
Yeah.
Also, if you have any questions, because a lot of the stuff we saw in the group today was really about these stages. Huh?
It was.
A lot of the frustration we felt as people shared, a lot of it comes from not understanding the stage you're in,
Yeah.
and then holding your partner accountable and responsible to fulfill you. That's
yeah.
where it's coming from.
Yeah. So.
And then they're not playing their part of the deal, so it makes you miserable, angry, bitter.
Yeah. And I feel that the expectations that we are placing on our spouse either have to do with our culture, with our upbringing, or with media itself.
You have a script.
You
that you've
have a
brought in.
script that you have come with, and you're expecting the other
You know,
person
the
to
funny
fulfill.
picture I just got right now is I come to the marriage and I'm a director of my play, of my life.
Yeah.
And I'm like, here's your part.
Yes.
Play this
you
part.
Play that part.
And of course, because you're so stunned by me and how amazing I am,
Yeah.
you're like, okay, I'll play.
Yeah.
And then you get married and you're like, I don't like this play.
Yeah.
I don't like
It's
being in
not
your play.
going-
It's
yeah,
not about me, it's
not-
about you.
Yeah.
And of course, the thing is, I'm not even noticing as I'm doing that, I also gave you a script
Yeah.
that you're also getting fed up of playing. And so you just get into this conflict and you keep
Yeah.
feeling, if I just leave this person and get someone else,
Yeah.
I'll
That
be
it's
happy.
going to. And
or just feeling, Lord, deliver. You're praying about those that this person is like, Lord, they're the ones responsible. Change them,
yeah.
because if they change, I'll be happy.
And in addition to the incredible selfishness that it reveals about us, I think it also reveals the brokenness that is there.
Mm.
I remember there's this guy who talked about taking, was it 4 weeks to consummate their marriage?
Yeah, they didn't have sex for 4 weeks.
For 4 weeks. And then I think that what happened is that, and even then, even after that, it's just been such a problem area. And, a number of people did respond talking about trauma or the past. And the past does really play a big role in someone's life, in people's life. And if you find a situation like that one, then imagine it is not the spouse. Don't take it personally.
Yeah.
This person is broken and they actually need to go for therapy. That's it. Where things are so, the dysfunction is so great, then probably that person needs to go for. They need help. Basically, they need help.
So Eve Nyama is asking, so what would you say is the purpose of marriage? And I really like that question. Huh? Patrick asked, what's the full name of the professor? He's called David Augsburger.
Yes,
Patrick,
yeah,
huh?
David
He's called David
Augsburger.
Augsburger. He wrote a few books. I feel like when we took Noah, a lot of our principles,
Came from that
I
book.
really think he had such a huge influence
Yeah.
on our thinking about marriage, by the way.
Yeah.
And the whole purpose of marriage, which he talks about, because we think marriage is to make us happy. And that was a theme running in our groups today.
Oh,
Like, why is this guy making me miserable? Why should I stay when I'm so miserable?
yeah.
Because the idea we have is that marriage is there to make us happy. And that's what Hollywood has told us.
Yeah.
That's what we've imbibed ever since we were babies.
Yeah.
Ever since you watched the Disney movie that you watched that showed you the prince kissing whatever and becoming who.
Yeah.
It's like it's all about making me happy. Happy. Even we even say happily ever after. You know.
Yeah.
But the reality is that God did not design marriage to make me happy. He designed it to make me holy.
Holy. It's a whole different ballgame.
And that holiness is a side effect. And happiness is a side
The
effect of
side-
holiness.
Holiness.
But the whole entire purpose of this thing is that God is saying, you've got so many issues.
Yeah.
You're a perfect, this is a wonderful son. But there's some issues that he has. And I've got just the woman to reveal those issues, so he has to deal with it.
Yeah.
Isn't that what it is?
That's what it is.
So, I mean, you reveal some issues in me, I mean, of impatience, of selfishness. Just the stuff I was carrying that I thought, you know, when you're single, by the way, you can carry all this stuff and hide it and nobody
You don't
will ever
even
know
feel
it's
a
there.
saint. I
You
mean,
can
I
fake it.
definitely felt
Yeah,
like a
you
saint.
did feel a
I
saint.
felt like a saint. In
Yeah.
fact, I just said, no, in fact, it was you who said that, and I also echoed it, that the woman who'd marry you would be very lucky.
Yeah, I used
And
to feel
I
my
felt
goodness.
the same thing
Yeah.
too. The man who'd marry me would be very lucky.
I mean, I'm such a
Hey, look
cool
at me.
package, you know.
Yeah, I felt that, good pedigree.
Then you realize, oh my God, I'm making my woman miserable.
Yeah.
You know.
The
So the purpose is holiness, and God will actually use your spouse to disciple you. God will use your spouse to actually turn you more and more like Jesus. If you're patient and you hang in there.
yeah.
But the problem is we're out so quickly. It's like, I don't like this and I'm out, which is part of your own problems, the dysfunctions that we all have.
yeah.
And so I think one of the things I learned through understanding that every couple goes through drama is that you will marry someone else. So here's the thing. You're thinking, okay, there could be another woman that could be my perfect one. This one is obviously I made the mistake. I'd have left you. I'd have found another woman. And then guess what I realized? We'd have started from zero again.
Yeah.
It's like moving from standard 5 and going back all the way to nursery school and restarting your marriage. Because you're still going to go back through dream and then have to come back through drama. And that's just the thing. Drama is so necessary because it helps us understand who the other person is.
Yeah.
And it helps us discard our dream, which is unrealistic in the first place.
Yeah. And I feel that you deciding I'm not going to try to change my spouse, even the one who is withholding intimacy, and things are very thick because that came up in today's group a lot. If you stop looking at your spouse to make you happy or to make you whole or to fulfill you in whatever ways, and you decide that I'm going to work on myself. If I need to go for therapy, I'm going to go for therapy. Much as I may think it's the other person who needs to go for therapy, then I may think it is them, but you have no idea how much it is you. Because one person is enough to change a marriage. And I remember this guy who said that his marriage was in such a terrible state.
Yeah.
In fact, I think they've been married for maybe about 12 years, 13, 15 years. And, it was so bad. And he really wanted to quit. So I don't know if this was a last attempt thing that he was doing. I really don't know. But I remember him taking up a challenge. This challenge, 40-day challenge of just loving your spouse. And imagine, he just did it. And he said, I'm loving this person. The love dare. And he said, I'm loving this person the way Jesus loves them.
Yeah.
Not because they deserve it. But, because Jesus loves us, warts and all. He loves us. He just loves us, period, with our brokenness and so on.
So he decided to just love her regardless.
And imagine it changed. It really changed.
Despite her response, whether her response is good or not, he still love her.
And I think he also did it prayerfully. And with time, imagine her attitude changed. And so I think that, and that to me was such a big thing. Just saying, rather than thinking about them, let me just do what I know I'm supposed to do, the loving things I'm supposed to do, and trust God to change them in the process.
I love that.
That was so powerful. So I have over here, I don't know if you have any comments, but Bikuria is saying, I realized late in marriage is that my husband doesn't like family gatherings, and yet while courting, he would go for family meetings.
Yep.
So I now go alone or with my children.
Oh, that's so sad.
Yeah.
But it's a reality.
It's a reality.
I mean, and the funny thing is, he was not pretending.
Yeah.
This is the thing, he was in love. And when you're in love, and it's not that he's not in love, he was in love. There's like a chemical thing, that sleep place,
Yeah.
where God puts us where I'm pursuing you, I'll do whatever it takes to be with you.
Yeah.
And that change is just I'm being myself now.
Yeah.
And I remember just those days when I'd take you window shopping.
Yeah.
Remember that?
He took me where before we got married.
I mean, she used to like going to this shop to try out dresses. And
yeah.
I'd be there holding a handbag.
Yes.
And you can imagine this staff guy from my rugby team holding a woman's handbag in a women's clothes shop, and she's trying out one dress after the other,
Yeah.
and she's asking, "How does this look?" And I'm going, "Oh, that's so
nice.
you. That's so awesome."
Yeah.
I mean, if my sister saw me, they'd have burst out laughing. They're
Yeah,
like, "That's not
wondering,
who this
who's
guy
this
is."
guy? He's different.
That's what love does. So we get married, and she still wants me to take her window shopping. I'm like, "Why do you want to take you window shopping? So you call your sister to take
Call
you."
your sister, call your girlfriend.
And
you
of
go.
course, that is so devastating
That was so
for the young bride.
devastating.
Yeah. So be curious. I think that's why it's almost figuring out. Okay, this is what it's going to take. There's no in the Bible. It says a husband shall take his wife for family functions.
No.
So you're doing what you need to do.
Yeah, and I think it gives everyone peace. And looking back now at our food issue, I really should have gotten a few girlfriends and just enjoyed cooking with them, exchanged recipes.
Do a bit more hosting.
Yeah, do a
invite
bit more
people.
hosting. Yeah, and done it that way. But that's just
And your
my
cooking gift would
retrospect.
have been.
It would have flourished. It would have grown. Who knows? We could have opened a restaurant. Who knows? Who knows? But here, Priscilla is saying marriage is sometimes taking a backseat before I realized this. I used to resent my husband for having such a demanding job, one that made me be the sole caregiver for the children. My dream was to have a successful career. I decided to make compromises. Love is compromising too. And that's very interesting, Priscilla, where you realize your husband has a very demanding job. You may have wanted to also, have a career and advanced, but you understood that taking care of the children was something very important. That if you didn't do it, then the children would suffer. And I agree with that.
So basically, what happens then is there's a place of just real pain, and every couple
Real
goes through it,
discomfort,
and
yeah.
it's discomfort, it's pain, it's just a sense of things aren't working the way I wanted them to work, and the reason is because your dream is being laid bare, it's being exposed, and it's being shown, your selfish dream that you always had, the kind of person you thought you'd marry. I mean, little girls start planning their wedding from when they're babies. I remember when our little girls would go to be bridesmaids in weddings, and they put on their dress. I mean, they'd be competing with the bride because they're already planning their own wedding,
Yeah.
So here you are, you finally got your wedding, you finally got all your dreams in a row and your ducks in a row, and then you marry this guy, and the guy isn't cooperating with your dream, and it's devastating.
Yeah.
But I remember, so what helped us move out of that?
What helped us, for me, I would say, was when I decided I'm not going to lay the expectation that my happiness depended on you. And I think I decided, I actually shifted focus and said, actually, maybe let me look to God. And I think I realized that the void that I was experiencing, the deep emotional void, is something that only God can feel. And I think that, many years later, I understood we've been called to give. I think as soon as we start demanding, even from our marriage, to receive, then that's where we start going wrong. But when we give instead, then we are actually adding. We're adding to marriage now.
But this is later now.
This is much later.
But at the beginning, it was almost let me just stop demanding.
Let me stop demanding.
Let me
I think
look
it was
to
that
God.
whole thing.
And it felt like dying, isn't it?
Oh, it felt like
Because
death.
it feels like at that point when you say, let me stop looking to you
Yeah.
to meet my needs, it almost feels like I'm saying something about my marriage.
Yeah, I'm
The marriage
saying
will never
I may
fulfill
never
me.
be happy. I think that was what I was dying to. I may never be emotionally fulfilled. I think those were the things that I was dying to.
And let me trust God to be the one who fulfills me,
Yes.
not this man.
Although I must say, I wasn't even that
Deep.
mature.
You're just like, I'm done.
I'm done. And in fact, I think it was more out of anger and out of pride. I think I can't stay around. I mean, my mother taught us, you don't just, wait on a man. You should be an independent woman. So I think that lesson finally clicked. Tap! And I said, now because I was a believer, I was like, actually, let me look to God. Although I must say, it wasn't that well
Wasn't
thought
as
through.
well. Okay. But the net effect is you stopped then looking at your husband, demanding he fulfills you.
And I think the other thing, when I stopped demanding, I became grateful. And I started saying thank you. Rather looking at it and saying you haven't done this, this and the other. I started being grateful and saying thank you for doing this and this and that.
So when it came, you saw it as I'm grateful for it.
It's a gift. Yeah. I couldn't. I
You
wasn't
no longer
demanding.
expected it.
Yeah.
So now here's the thing that happened. I mean, she's describing her inner process, but on the outside, the way it looked is all of a sudden, she's no longer like you have to do it. So I'll give you an example of things I used to do, like we used to do. I remember she when we got married, her expectation was her dad owned a security company. The guy was like super secure. He'd go around the house, lock down all the windows in the night, make sure the lights are working, everything. For me, I'm such a different guy. I grew up in a home where it's like Jesus looks after us.
And you fight when the thugs
Like
come.
like
I'm
honestly, for me, I don't close like locking doors. What's that? I started locking doors because of you.
yeah.
Like even
I'm
my
like,
car, I'm like, if somebody steals it, there's insurance. God is there. In fact, God is my insurance. It's my time for a new car. God will give me a new. It's like that's how I think. So when my wife it was such a stress for her because I'd go to bed and she's waiting for me to go around,
yes, locking up everything.
locking the doors, and I'm like, what kind of slavery is this? So at some point she was so fed up, it was a cause of tension. And I could tell she was pushing me to do it, and she would do it so resentfully when she had to do it because she'd actually go around and close the windows. And for me, I'm like, you want to do it? Good for you, you know?
Yeah.
So it wasn't a happy part.
Yeah.
But what happens is now, when she finally went through this, I noticed the resentment ended. There was no longer a sense of expectation. She was no longer like, you need to do this or I'm not going to be happy. And what happens is, I think I'd gotten a bit used to the tension. I'd gotten a bit used to, I push you, then you push me back. So what's happening now at this stage is I push, she's not pushing back. Because she's no longer looking at me to be at the source of her satisfaction. And let me tell you guys, it was scary. I felt like I'd lost my wife. In fact, I began to think, I felt like a child because it's like you poke someone and they refuse to poke back. And at that point, I started realizing, you know what happens in a marriage? When one person chooses to grow up and the other one is left juvenile, the juvenile has to choose to grow up as well. And I began to realize, I mean, I've got unrealistic expectations on this woman. I'm the one who, when I come and complain, she's not complaining back. She's taking it in and she's like, okay, sawa. And it made me have to change my perspective. So even I had to start looking to God now to fulfill my needs because I was like, okay, this is not working.
Yeah.
So it's a very weird thing that happens to couples when all of a sudden you stop being demanding. And it doesn't happen because you know this. It happens because a season comes in your marriage when you're finally convinced you cannot change the other person. And nobody has to tell you anymore. You've been so here's the thing. We knew this stuff in our year 5 of marriage.
Yeah.
But it
We knew
wasn't
the theory.
until year 12. And by the way, after knowing this theory, we decided we're going to teach other people because it saved our marriage.
Yeah.
So we would teach, every year we would teach. That's one of the things we always tell couples. The more you share with others, and that's why we even do this ministry we're doing. The more you bless other people, the more your marriage gets blessed. Huh?
Yeah.
And so we do it over and over, and we taught it, and so we knew the theory, but it wasn't until year 12, which is what we tell people. Around year 12 is when your drama phase ends. And around year 12, something shifted, like she said, like we're saying. Something shifted in her. So even knowing all this that we're telling you, it's not going to accelerate you. It's like knowing that one day you're going to do a degree. But knowing that doesn't mean that now in standard 4, you can rush and just quickly pass your exam so you can go and do your degree. It doesn't work that way. You will still have to go through the stages because that's what helps you get to know each other.
Yeah.
Yeah. So
That's-
that was quite dramatic. That was
that's-
quite a dramatic stage 2.
Oh my goodness, I'm so glad that it ended. And after
But
drama,
the good thing is, even when we're in the middle of stage 2, one of the things we did is we made some ground rules. Remember?
yeah, we did.
And we said,
Never
because we
hit-
started talking about it, and we said, okay, look, we're going to be in this season of disagreement for a while. It's not bad for us to disagree because it's helping us understand who we really are.
Yeah.
So let's make ground rules. Remember some of the ground rules we made?
Yeah, one was we never hit below the belt.
What does that mean? Like, hit the ball.
Yeah, in your arguments, you do not say things that you're going to regret.
Yeah.
Yeah, that was one.
We would never attack personally.
Yeah.
So I'd never say it's because your mom, or you just don't use things that are personal.
Yeah.
I think raising our voice was another
Yeah,
one.
raising our voices.
Like I raise my
didn't-
voice when I'm trying to communicate to somebody who's not hearing what I'm saying.
Yeah,
And
so
those
to me, I
those,
was like, I
those,
can't
those
hear.
Americans in movies who, can you speak English? Like I speak louder when I think you're not
Yeah.
understanding. And
Yeah.
I'm telling you, every time I raise my voice, it will just catastrophically change the course of the
Yeah, I'm like, I
conversation.
can't hear.
Yeah.
Your voice is too loud. So that was the
Another
other-
rule was about tears.
Yeah.
Because now
What was
I use voice, she uses tears. So when she felt the story was not going her liking, she'd break down.
Yeah.
and it would become a water bath, like.
What a wax.
And it's like it was like a nuclear option. Just press the button, the conversation is over.
Yeah,
So
I
we
think
agreed no
decided that.
no tears.
Yeah.
We don't use tears to fight.
Mm.
So I mean, we just came up
Came up
with
with our
rules.
ground
We talked
rules.
about even sex. We don't use that as a manipulative tool in our relationship.
No.
It's not there. It's not on the table for look.
Yeah.
If you're not talking to me nicely, this is not working.
Mhm.
So we just came up with rules that worked for us,
Yeah.
and that really helped us to go through
to
the
keep
stages.
to be sane, to be honorable, to be kind, and we also said that we wouldn't keep even if it was a hot topic that came up, if we were not able to resolve it between the two of us, we would call in a friend, and
Yeah.
we did at one time, we did, or we would say, can we talk about it tomorrow? Maybe the emotions were too high, and we would say, let's just talk about it tomorrow.
So make ground rules.
yeah, just
Figure out we're going to be in this stage for a while. So while we're here and we're getting to know each other, there will be some discomfort, but in the process, it's good for us. And by the way, these stages we're talking about, they happen in company. Those of you who do company team building, it's forming and storming and norming and performing. So basically, you go through this storming phase. You will go through it.
yeah,
So it's almost saying, while we're here, what are things that can help us
yeah,
to be able to deal?
yeah,
So, and I think a lot of the stories we saw today were just stage 2 stories,
yeah,
where you're just frustrated that the person will not play ball the way he's supposed to play ball.
yeah.
And that's why we start using languages like manipulation or betrayal. They're betraying me because they won't do what they said they would do. Basically, what you're saying is they won't play to my script. That's what it feels. That's why it feels like a betrayal.
yeah.
But every couple goes through this, and I think God wants you to die towards that to begin to discover who the
And
person
somebody
is.
asked, is it possible to accelerate the process? We always get that asked that
Mhm,
question.
mhm, mhm.
But I think the sooner that you decide that you're not going to that you're going to quit demanding from your spouse, and that you're actually going to look to God, I think the sooner that you're able to do that, depends on your maturity, I guess, the faster it happens.
However,
It
it still
It
takes
does take
time
time.
because you still have to get to know the person. There is no shortcut.
yeah,
Because the reality is it's not knowing the person of, okay, like sit down and go through a questionnaire. What are your preferences? What do you like? It's not knowing the person that way. It's knowing the person in terms of just saying, I've always had one script for what's right. This is
Yeah.
what works for a person to be a good person. This is what works for a family to work. That's the only script I have. But the problem is my spouse has a completely different script. It's going to take years for us to be able to synchronize those scripts and to say, okay, so what does this look like in childbearing? What does this look like in money? What does this look like in, and how come you get defensive when somebody talks about this? That doesn't happen in one conversation. It's over and over. As you press each other's buttons, you begin to realize things about each other you didn't even know. And so I think that's why it doesn't take a short time.
it doesn't take a short time.
Somebody else asked, how does the intimacy thing work? I like how we call it the intimacy thing. I guess people have kids in the living room. How does the intimacy thing work when there are domains? In other words, when you're having a conflict, how do you still manage to have sex? That's what they're asking basically. So
It was a decision.
what we decided to do is have a decision where we said all our arguments happen above the belt. So it's all conversation. Below the belt, nothing argues in this house. So what we decide is to, and we talked about this in one of the asking for friends in a past episode. We would get to what we call parks.
Yeah.
Parks is when you say, look, we've discussed this issue. We're not really making headway right now. We need to come back at a different level, at a different at a different time. But in the meantime, let's take a pause, and we're going to call it a parks, and we'll come back in a few days, or in 2 days, or tomorrow, and discuss it. So anyway, we talk about this is actually something we talk about in couples and money.
Yeah.
We talk about it indoor as well.
More indoor, yeah.
Yeah, we do it indoor as well.
Yeah.
So it's just there are different ways to resolve conflict. So we learned those ways, and basically what those mean is, hey, the issue is not me, the issue is not you. Two of us have an issue, so we can put the issue aside, and the two of us will be left until we bring back the issue, so we can sort the issue. The minute you think your spouse is the issue, you've lost the argument. Because the marriage loses at that point. If you're the issue, then I have to deal with the issue. But when I understand that you're not the issue, I'm not the issue, we have an issue between us, we can put the issue on the side and have our marriage, and then come back and say we're going to come back to our issue, to this issue, and resolve it together. So that's how. So Michael, hopefully that's helpful to somebody.
Yeah.
Yeah.
We have just about 15 minutes, 13 minutes.
Oh my gosh,
to go.
how did this go so fast?
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah.
So Pascalia says, I'm watching from Accra. Great to have you here, Pascalia. And George Ahago is just voice versus tears. Yes. I
Yes,
think
voice.
he relates. So anyway, so stage 3, and again maybe we'll have another
I think we
time to
might,
talk a bit
yeah.
about this and answer more questions. But if you have questions, ask us. Discovery. So you come from the dream to drama to discovery.
Yeah, and discovery is when now that you've decided we're not going to lock heads here, we're not going to try and we're not going to demand from each other, and we look outward and we look to God, and we look outside of the relationship to find our fulfillment.
Yeah. Then you start discovering each other.
Then you start discovering each other.
Because it's no longer, I didn't marry a person, I married a dream. Then in drama is when the dream refuses to be the dream. The person says, I'm not your dream. This is who I am. And I don't want to discover that. So I keep pushing her back to be my dream, and we're having this conflict back and forth. And then discovery is when I finally get to the place where I resign. I'll never get my dream.
Yeah.
And I start asking, so who are you?
Who is this person?
And I actually start saying, so who did God give me? Because he didn't give me what I wanted.
Yeah, it's what you needed.
He gave me what I needed.
Yeah.
So what is this that God gave me?
Yeah.
And that whole stage is called discovery. It's a completely different phase. You will actually feel the
You'll
energy
feel it.
has gone. That energy for conflict is gone.
Yeah.
You'll actually feel a peace on your home that you've not experienced for a while. And it's not like drama was a bad thing. It's a necessary stage. But in discovery, you enter into a season of peace.
Yeah, you do. Maybe I could add a caveat that in the drama phase, we do not advocate at all for violence at all.
Yeah.
And if somebody
absolutely.
violence. Somebody today asked about a sadistic spouse.
Get help.
That is
immediately.
cruelty.
Immediately.
Yeah, get help immediately.
Yeah.
And if there is violence and cruelty, it tells you that person is very broken.
They need
The
help.
spouse that you're married is
And you
very
both
broken.
need help.
You
So
both
get
need
the
help,
help.
so you need that.
Yeah.
So anyway, so discovery, it's where when you're discovering who the other person is, you're beginning to, just look and see, okay, this person is who they, I came in with certain assumptions, and, this is who I'm discovering the person is.
And in discovery, it's when you actually now start learning things.
Yeah.
Like I began to learn, she doesn't like, for me, it was either bright colors or dull colors. There was nothing in between. But for her, she has things called pastels, she has things called earth tones. And I'm like, what are those? To me, if they're not bright, they're dull.
Yeah.
But I began to actually discover there's a whole
whole
palette,
world.
a whole world I had no clue about.
Yeah.
And it happens with family rules. You start realizing, okay, it's not just my way or the highway. There's another way that I just didn't know. So you start to see a brilliance in your spouse that you didn't even know was there, because all you knew was your way and she was not fitting your way.
Yeah.
And that way, it's a space of discovery. When you start actually seeing things about the other person that even surprise
Like
you.
I think I discovered that you like your space.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Surprisingly.
Like your space, yeah,
I do.
surprisingly. And that it doesn't mean it's just your space. It doesn't mean that you have shut me out or anything, because at first it was quite threatening.
No,
to
I'm
do
a
that.
man. I need a cave.
Yeah, so
I need
I
space.
and I think I realized that, and I was like, okay, just go through your cave. When you're done, you'll come out and you're going to have a conversation.
Yeah, and you discovered you can actually have fun with your girlfriends.
Girlfriends.
Which before it was almost like, be my girlfriend.
Yeah. I realized
And my husband.
my discovery is that you're not a girl.
I'm not a girl. There's some things I just will never enjoy.
You're not a girl. You're not a girlfriend. You don't
And I
feel
never
like
be,
a
and I don't
girl.
want to be.
You don't want to think like a
No,
girl.
I don't want to think like a girl. So these are things you start to discover. And you start to discover things. I discovered your wise.
Oh, you did.
Yeah, man. I mean, because, you take time to think through things. And so, for me, because I think quickly, like on the spot at the moment, I think I'd get frustrated because I'm like, let's make the decision already. What's wrong with you? I mean, don't you think? So I think I have a very high view of myself. Again, the things I've discovered about myself. So I think in
Am I allowed
discovery,
to say yes?
yes, you are. So in discovery is when I was actually discovering that even though you don't speak that often, like I do,
Or that quickly. I don't
as
respond
quickly
as
as
quickly as
yeah,
you do.
you actually have
I
a lot
think
to say, and it's very deep. And when I've listened, it's actually helped me. I mean, even when you talk about couples and money, when it comes to our financial decisions, you may not have the same way of thinking. In fact, it's almost opposite way of thinking, but actually it works.
You are surprised.
I was
It works.
surprised. Actually, there's a whole chapter of couples and money that's about just that
Surprise.
that shock that your spouse actually has something powerful to add.
That makes sense.
That makes a lot of sense. So discovery is when you start now you start discovering.
Yeah.
And it's a great stage because now you're focused together, you're able to move in the same direction for the first time in a long time. You're able to be of agreement in many, many different areas where it was hard to reach agreement. You're no longer threatened by your spouse's difference
Yeah.
or disagreement. You're like, okay, we can have two different opinions and be in the same house and we're fine.
And you're fine. Yeah.
And it's a very different phase from drama.
It is.
Many couples never get to discovery because they quit before they get there.
Yeah.
You know, and there are some of you who are in that space where you're almost quitting.
Yeah.
And you're thinking, if I just marry someone else. But the challenge is, you marry someone, remember, you go back to zero,
Yeah, to zero.
and start all over again. And I've met people, I've actually had people tell me this, that I wish I knew what I know now with my second or third wife,
Yeah.
as I did with my first. If I knew it at that point, I would have saved myself a whole, and a lot of other people, a whole lot of
Hurting
heartache.
a lot of people.
I didn't have to leave this person to discover this about myself.
Yeah.
So I think it's just one of those areas when you know this stuff, it gives you some perseverance because you understand, you know what, it's not the person who's the problem. We just have to figure this thing out together.
Yeah. I have issues that I need to deal with.
Yeah.
Anyway, the last one is depth. I think we just have a few more minutes. And depth is when now, as you've discovered your spouse, you begin to not to appreciate their differences and to actually use their differences to leverage on them.
Yeah.
So if we talk about discovery, when does that start? When does it end? I think it's from year 12 to about year 12 or 13 or even 15 to what? Maybe 20s?
Yep.
20s. And then depth is
So year
25
12.
and
So if you're
above.
not yet at year 12, it's
you're
okay,
still in
relax,
drama.
just enjoy. And I mean, it's not to say that you're fighting. That's not what we're trying to say. You could actually even be happily married,
Yeah.
but you're just in that place where there's so much, things are just rubbing against each other. But then at around year 12, year 13, and by the way, we taught this for years. We thought we would be exempt because we knew it and we were teaching it,
I didn't have
but we
that.
still went through it. Year 12, 13, you actually do move to a different space as you're consistent and you're working towards your marriage, called discovery. And then if you are consistent again, because again, many couples never move into a different stage from discovery. They're so relieved that the drama is over that they actually separate.
Yeah.
They stop working on their marriage.
Yeah.
And those are the divorces where you find people just left each other amicably. Like amicably, they're still friends, in fact, they're co-parents. They have no bile for each other. They just don't feel it anymore because they stopped working on their relationship.
Yeah.
But should you keep working on your relationship, then you enter into the fourth stage.
Yeah, which is depth, and that is 25 plus years. It doesn't mean that you're going to get there automatically. You could actually remain in drama all your life. And as he says, when kids leave home, even you leave home. So that's the depth, and that's why you're saying, you know what? I see this in you, and I really appreciate it, and I think that I need it.
Yeah.
Financial
So I'm going to
incompatibility.
stop and just play a little. Can I do this?
Yeah.
Like it's just something, because hey, this is something we want you guys to be aware of. So just check this out. I'm going to share something on the screen and do a little commercial break. So how do I share? I just do this. No. That's not what I do. I do something different. I do this, and then I share the screen. And it's okay. So guys, check this out.
Is the leading
It
cause
starts
of
from the beginning.
financial incompatibility is the leading cause of divorce and separation worldwide. Why is it that so many of us have bought into the lie that it is normal to be financially incompatible?
Over the years, we have encountered so many couples who have come up with questions for us. Questions like, should we have a joint account? What do we do with the spouse who's a hoarder and is, has held on to the money and is refusing to let go?
Or the spouse who's a spender and just wants to splurge whenever they make money. What do you do when the husband earns a lot less than the wife? And we're talking about African husbands, sometimes can be very threatening situation.
Yeah, that can be. And as we reflected on the questions that we were receiving from all these couples, we realized that we have been blessed, honestly, to have had mentors who are older than us, who helped us understand how to manage our money together and even how to grow our money together. Yeah.
And that's why we came up with Couples and Money. It's a 10-week online masterclass that helps you develop financial compatibility, financial wonders. It's going to teach you how to make money as a couple, but it's also going to teach you to have common values so that when you make money, money does not divide you, but actually draws you closer together. And we've seen couples change. We've seen people understand how to grow resource together. We've seen couples understand how to have safe money conversations. That's a big deal.
That's a big
We've seen
deal.
couples being able to do great things that they only dreamt about being able to do previously before.
Yeah. So if this sounds intriguing to you anyway, then we invite you to come to this mentoring program where you will be mentored together with your spouse on how to manage your finances together. So I encourage you, sign up for Couples and Money.
See you there.
Okay, that is a little message from the sponsors, and I realized, by the way, I messed up. For all of you guys on YouTube, you didn't get to see it. I think the people on Facebook saw it. But I'm just not a good techie nowadays. I think I'm growing old. But anyway, so Couples and Money, please sign up if you are interested. We're starting in January, and we just think it's a great time for you to start thinking about it, planning ahead for it, because we like you to plan ahead. And so we would love for you, if you're interested in the January class, to just indicate, click on the Ndoa Couples Community. If you're part of it already, send us a message, and we'd love to just place you in a class, because we're already, we can feel the classes are going to fill up quickly, and we want to make sure you have a spot in that. So, hey, my goodness, as I watched today, I think for me, my whole thing was just saying there's a lot of challenge in marriage. But marriage was not meant to be. It's not. God did not create it to give you pain. He created it to give you joy, and that joy will come in holiness. It will come from you becoming more and more like the God you are created to serve. And here's the thing: it works. It actually works. For us, we've seen couples who've gone through those phases, and who have a phenomenal marriage. There's nothing like a marriage that has gone through the stages and has depth. You know, when you see couples who are in depth, they're probably in their 60s. They're older. They're maybe late 50s, and what it is that you actually see when they say I love you, it's no longer, it's not romance.
It's not romantic.
It's at another level of just oneness, of connection, of we've been through pain, we've been through stuff together, but we still love each other. And I think that for me is real love. I no longer get impressed by movies. I no longer get impressed by commercials when you see a guy and a girl and they're movie stars and they just look at each other and they've got a nice big house. I'm like, what is that? That's chemicals. That's just hormones. You know, like real love, it takes work. It takes commitment. It takes pain. It takes hanging on to God. It takes loving the way God has loved me. And that's what it is. And for me, I want to love this woman until we're toothless. You know, I want to be at the place where we're just old, and by God's grace, old together. And we've been through stuff, but we still hang on to each other. We still have a phenomenal marriage. We're committed to that, and we work through it. And so I think it's just encouraging you guys. It's possible. A good marriage is possible. Don't give up yet. It's not over until God says it's over. Get help if you need to get help. Do what you need to make this thing work. But a good marriage is possible. And our hope is even through asking for a friend, we're going to bring many more couples. This year we've been able to bring you a whole bunch of couples that just to show you, because it's not that they're perfect, but they're working on their marriage. And our prayer is that as you watch more and more of couples, there's more and more evidence that marriage works. Marriage actually works. It's God's idea. It's a good idea. And we don't want you to give up on it.
Yeah.
And so, So
I don't have anything else to add.
For real?
Yeah, no, I don't.
You're a deep woman.
Well, other than just have
I know what it is. It's a cinnamon. This stuff works. Get some. She's already shutting down. Takes a little longer to work on me. But hey, please sign up for Couples and Money. We'd love for you to do that. If you're at the place where you think we don't even have a foundation for our marriage, then sign up for Ndoa. Let us know. We'd love to put you in a class as well. And hey, I just really believe that good marriages are possible. God's plan for us is to have good marriages. Our vision is to see a whole generation of fantastic marriages. Marriages that prove to the world that marriage with God works. And I believe that your marriage is one of those marriages. So, hey, with those few words.
Yeah, have a Merry Christmas.
Merry Christmas.
Yeah.
Enjoy December.
Yeah, we'll meet again in the new year.
Look forward to the new year and to the new things. We've already been planning what the next season is going to look like, and it's going to be fun. We're really going to have a good time together. So God bless you, and thank you so much for just being with us, being part of our family this last few months. God bless.
Bye.
Good night.